So you're in the market looking for a brand new graphics card, maybe the RX 7600 XT. Well, in this video, we're going to be taking a look at the Sapphire Radeon Pulse RX 7600 XT gaming OC card. We're going to be testing 6 different games so you can get a taste of the performance the card can provide. And we're going to be testing at 1080p and 1440p. We're going to be testing in Ultra. Then we're also going to be testing without and with FSR 3, and then with AM, FM, and fluid generation as well. That way you know exactly what you're getting. Games we're going to be playing in no particular order are Cyberpunk 2077, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, Avatar Frontier of Pandora, Starfield, Palworld, and of course Fortnite. So without wasting any more time, let's get started. All right, so starting off, we're unfortunately under 50. Oh, we just hit 50. Again, we're at 4K at Ultra with nothing else enabled. Okay, and she's not playing bad, it's just we're not above 60 frames per second. So if I just come in here and come under settings, I'll go ahead and put it back at Ultra, but I'll leave FSR 2.1 enabled. All right, and we can already see that now we're playable. Not a ton over 60, but we're over 60. And she's looking good. All right, now comes in Hypr-RX. So we're under global, which is normal, what everybody would be under. But let me go ahead and enable Hypr-RX. Now, if we come under gaming, we can see RSR is enabled, and then so is AFMF. So what that does, so the game it's supposed to look a little less clear, but to me it looks a little bit brighter. Then also the frame rate. Now we're almost at 120, even almost double. We're in the hundreds or over 100. We will every so often dump down to the 70s, but she's looking beautiful. And you can see the temperature. The case is closed, so we're at 65 degrees Celsius. And just look how beautiful it is. Everything's playing great. Let's see if I can nab this car. Hey, I need your car for a minute. Thank you. All right, so, and then we're still playing great.
Roger, dispatch. What else is new? We'll be right there.
Of course, my first turn, and I'm in an alley. All right, but we can see even though I'm in an alley, she is playing beautiful. I'm not playing great, but that's okay. I'm just giving you an example. Over 100 frames per second at 2K. So let's come back in here, and maybe you can't play at 2K, but you want to keep Ultra because maybe your monitor doesn't support it. So we'll come under video. I'll go ahead and dump this down to 1920 by 1080. Okay, we still have FSR 2.1 enabled, as well as Hypr-RX, which is again the collection of RSR, AFMF, frame generation, so we're good there. And let's come back in and see.
Suspect's vehicle has been located.
Now we're at 150, and everything's just playing beautiful. Now it's upscaled, but the picture doesn't look as sharp. But still, you're worried more about being able to play the game, getting smooth frames per second, smooth frame rate. So I don't think that's going to hurt you too bad. So then if we want to come in here, and let's go ahead and disable Hypr-RX. Let's go ahead and put back to the global experience. So no upscaling or anything.
Suspect remains in the vicinity.
And let's go ahead and come under here. And again, just showing you the performance, what you can expect on the card. Now, nothing is upsampled, upscaled. Everything's pure gaming greatness. And because we're at 1080p,
Code 0. I repeat, code 0.
and this is a 1080p powerhouse, you can see that, you know, we're in the 80s, we're playing smoothly. Everything looks beautiful. And we're driving around, we're getting to accidents, making big scenes here, and we're not getting any kind of slowdowns. Everything just looks great here. Oh, all right. All right, anyway, let's jump on to the next game. All right, now in Starfield, we can see we're at 73 frames per second. Game is buttery smooth. And just try not to get attacked by this guy. The game looks great as well as being smooth, but we are, he's attacking me really. And I'm out of ammo, and I pissed him off. So now I'm gonna find some ammo. But anyway, we can see real quick, let me show you the settings. We're at 1080p. We have FSR enabled, so let's go ahead and disable that real quick. And that's going to go ahead and dump that down. It is Ultra, but because we disabled FSR 3, it dumped us down to custom. All right, so now with that, we're in the 50s. We did hit 60 for a second or so, and it doesn't look that great actually now that I have FSR disabled. And just in case, I do have this set to global, nothing special there. And under gaming, nothing special. Anti-lag was already enabled by default. So now I'm gonna go ahead and enable Hypr-RX. All right, so upscaled. So now we're 100. Yeah, in the 80s, 90s. And actually the graphics don't look as dull as they did when I had that disabled. As dark, kind of blurry back there, but let me go ahead and, is that stutter? Okay, the shadow made me think it was stuttering, but it's smooth. So let me go ahead and enable FSR 3 now that I have all that enabled in the game. All right, and out of ammo, unfortunately, but now we can see we're over, well, we were over 100. Yeah, we are 116. All right, and again, that's at 1080p. So let me jump out of here real quick, set it to 2K, and I'll be right back. All right, so we're back in the game at 1440p, and I'll show you 1 second, and then also the fact that we are without ammo coming off of that previous 1080p game. Game looks beautiful. I love 2K over 1080p, and I love 2K over 4K because it's just that much smoother, even on the best of cards. But anyway, let's come out of here real quick and I'll show you my settings. Again, 2560 by 1440. We're at Ultra with FSR 3. Even with FSR 3 enabled, you see that we are taking a little bit of a hit, well, a tremendous hit in the 40s and 50s. Now, coming out of here, let's go ahead and jump back into Hypr-RX. Hypr-RX, again, is going to enable RSR. It is going to upscale, enable AFMF, and of course, frame generation. All right, and with all that, we are in the 80s and 90s. Oh, we're in the 50s. So actually doing that, let me come back in here, and let's go ahead and disable that. That could be causing the issue. All right, and there we go. That's better. And we're jumping down. So some games aren't as good as that in others, but she's playing. I mean, she will occasionally go down to the 50s, but we are 2Ks. I forgot that. But yeah, so 1080p, she pays perfect. At 2K, she can struggle a little bit. And then, of course, if you wanted to, things making sense and all, we'll dump it down to high. And now we're in the, oh no, we're in the 70, oh, back down to the 50s. Well, we were in the hundreds for a good period of time. But yeah, she still looks great, but this is probably more of a 1080p title, at least if anything on this driver set. But of course, as the drivers come out, they get better and better and better. With that said, Starfield played great at 1080p. 2K, it suffered a little tiny bit, but as I mentioned, the drivers, as they update them, they'll unlock more and more performance and in games as well. But let's move on to the next game. All right, stepping into the beautiful world of Avatar. I just started playing this game and the graphics are beautiful. One of the main differences I found, and I'll show you in 1 second, is the water. The water looks beautiful. And you can swim. And of course, it's a little blurry underwater, as you would expect. But anyway, aside from that, you can see the environment. She looks beautiful. They did a great job with this game. So let me show you real quick what we're playing with. We are at 2K or 1440p with temporal anti-aliasing, not using frame generation or anything, and VSync off, of course. Graphics, we're at ultra. And with all that, we're hurting a little bit. We're in the 40s. And while she does look beautiful, we want to be able to play a game, not have a moving picture that we can't interact with, right? So one way would be to, of course, come in here and we could change it from 1440p down to 1080p. And that's going to help us. We're going to be able to get in the 60s and 70s. But of course, we want a little more. All right, so coming back in here, let's go ahead and enable FSR 3.0. And we'll leave frame generation off just for right now. All right, and just alone with that, well, we're kind of back to the 60s. She looks beautiful. It is upsampled or upscaled. And yeah, it's a little stuttery actually. I don't know if you've noticed that moving around. She stutters and now we're back in the 50s and 40s. All right, so let's come under here and let's go ahead and enable frame generation and whoops, enable frame generation. All right, and now look at that. In the hundreds, we're playing amazing. Frame generation is beautiful and it's totally smooth. All right, and the water still looks great. It looks a little more oily than it did before. So now let's come back here in the Radeon side. So right now we're utilizing custom. So let's go ahead and go back into Hypr-RX again. Okay, and that's going to go ahead and enable RSR again and enable AFMF. All right, so now we'll come under here. Let's go back into the game. See, it's changed the water a little tiny bit. This is what I was talking about earlier. But still, she's playing smooth. The game is beautiful. So the frame generation and AMFM looks beautiful, does a great job for the game, and gets you a whole lot more out of your card. And you know, that way you don't need to have the 7900 XT or XTX. Doesn't hurt to have it. or the 7800, but you know, if you're in a budget, the 7600 will still do you great. Look at that. And we're running around. So that is at, I believe we're still at 1080p. Let's go ahead and bump that up to 1440p. And now with all that enabled, now we're in the 70s again, but still we're better than the 40s, and she's playing beautiful. And again, we're at 2K here and everything's just looking beautiful. Everything is smooth, and let's just make sure that everything is the way we want it. So Ultra, 2K, FSR 3, frame generation on, and let's check the AMD settings over here. We are also using RSR and AFMF. So she's playing beautiful, and just to see, we are using Hypr-RX again. Hypr-RX does amazing, and not to mention that we are taking maybe a little teeny tiny hit because I'm using the graphics card to do all the recording. I'm not using a separate capture card or anything. This is coming all off of the compute cores. So beautiful here. So seeing that, you can see the quality that the 7600, even though it is a budget card, 7600 XT, it can still give you some great performance. I was focused on the gameplay. I didn't care about the other technical jargon. I want to have fun, and this is going to help me have fun. So let's jump on to the next game. All right, so Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, just to show you real quick, we're at ultra quality with AMD FSR 3 enabled, as well as frame generation. We're playing at 1440p, so beautiful with a refresh rate of 120 Hertz. And I didn't change anything, so let's discard that. And let's jump into a round real quick. All right, so with all that, we're almost at, well, we're past 200 frames per second. Beautiful, game looks great, but this is an FSR. We want precision, so in a sec, if and when I die. Oh, okay. So not if and when, or not if, but when. So let's jump over here real quick. Let's go ahead, disable FSR 3, which disabled frame generation. Okay. And now we're at 100, 113. Still died, my fault. You know, now we're 100% clear, 100% perfect. Nothing to distract us, and still at 1080p, I'm sorry, at 1440p, everything is just looking beautiful. Like seriously beautiful. Sorry, bud. All right, and in a second, I'll swap out again. Reloading. All right, so that is at, with FSR 3.0 disabled. So let's go ahead and enable Hypr-RX, which does all that for us on the back end.
Friendly UAV online.
And, well, it doesn't need it, so it's not going to work well. Whoa, 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 whoa. All right, so it's not going to work well because the game already supports it, so that takes care of everything outside of the driver. When we come over here, and actually AFMF is disabled, but we don't need it. So let's come back over here and put this back to the way it was. We don't need to upsample it or anything, upscale it. And we're back in the hundreds, or at 100.
Fire! Do not die here.
All right, so beautiful. Oh, nice. Kind of sucks that we're just all stuck there. Oh no, slowed down. But anyway, you can see just how perfect this game plays. They give us FSR 3. They give us frame generation at 2K, and we don't need it. So I'm gonna go ahead, dump it down to 1920 by 1080. I'm going to apply those settings. And now we're back up to maybe 160 or so. Everything looks beautifully smooth. That's for those of you that can't do 1080p and need every last frame.
UAV on station.
But the 7600 XT does a great job supporting it. Caught me off guard. But then if I wanted to squeeze that extra frame out of there, I'll go ahead and enable FSR 3. I'm gonna leave that on frame generation. I do have it set to quality. 330 frames per second.
I'm with you.
Just a quickie to show you how it plays on Call of Duty. Let's jump on to the next game. All right, so playing Palworld, pretty nice game so far. Reminds me a lot, and like most of us actually, of Pokemon. I've been playing Pokemon since I was 19, back around the time when it came to the States, and has a nice soft spot in my heart. And well, this game, of course, reminds me a lot of it. Let me show you the settings real quick. So we are on Epic at 1440p, VSync disabled, of course, and at max FPS, no limits, all that good stuff. Motion blur off, because who wants that? Unfortunately, we're in the 50s. You know, doesn't play well like this at 1440p. And hold on one sec, let me just get some meat and some wool. All right, so cool. So let's come back here under the control center. Let's enable Hypr-RX, which by the way, we are under the global experience. So let's enable Hypr-RX. Hypr-RX does its upscaling and everything, but it enables RSR again and upscale, AFMF. Now we're in the 90s or the upper 80s. The game's playing beautiful. And not too long ago, I discovered FSR 3 and how beautiful it is. And you know what? I don't remember seeing FSR support in this game. As DLSS, that's off because it's NVIDIA. And well, we don't need it because of AFMF. And she's playing beautiful. Look at that. Everything is just great. Oh, we're in the 70s, but still we jumped up to the 90s quickly, and she's playing beautifully. And I kind of just started, so I don't think I can get this. Oh, I definitely can't get him. He's the 35. I'm a level 6. But yeah, so now let me show you real quick at 1080p. All right, so now jumping back into Palworld, we're at 1080p right over here. And since we're upscaling to 1440, we can see that everything's just a little bit blurry. And well, unfortunately, that's something to be expected. But you can see our frame rate, we're in the hundreds now. Now, Coming back over here, I'm gonna go ahead, disable Hypr-RX. I'm going to put global experience back on. That gets rid of the upscaling. And then, where are they? Those guys that were sleeping are awake now, but they're running around. And it went from 1080p to 1440p, the upscaling. And now we're back at 1080p. It's still a little blurry because they're kind of out of sight, but not as blurry as it was before. Although you look kind of, the brightness is a little off, it seems. But either way, now we're in the 80s because we're at 1080p. We're playing beautifully, and it's weird the way that they walk like zombies. But anyway, so Palworld, again, I've been playing it for a few days now. Not hardcore or anything, just an hour at a time, maybe. And if you haven't picked it up, it's only $30 right now. It's an awesome game. Available on Steam, I think it was. I think it was. I don't remember now. But anyway, cool game. And eventually I'll be high enough level that I can catch this guy. Anyway, again, aside from everything we're doing game-wise, we are recording. So, of course, that puts a little tiny hit on the game itself. When we go into global, all this stuff disables. It looks great. And some games don't need that Hypr-RX. Some do. At 1080p, more than likely you won't need it. It's just when you jump up to 1440p that chances are you will need it. Hoping you're enjoying it so far. Let me know what you think down below. I'd love to get your feedback on it. Let's jump on to the next game. All right, so I am playing Fortnite at 4K. At 4K with nothing enabled. I'm using global, although in the latest driver update they've kind of incorporated global with Hypr-RX. Not a bad thing. So Hypr-RX is pretty awesome, as we've already seen. But you can see right now our frame rate is about 49 frames per second. So coming over here, let's go ahead and enable the proper Hypr-RX so we can see we're under global, which says also Hypr-RX. So I'm going to enable it here, come out of here and go back inside just to make sure we're under Hypr-RX. Perfect. And under gaming, we can see all the settings we have here for Hypr-RX. I'm going to, actually I'll leave AFMF disabled for right now. Just want to show you how it plays. So typically we're going to be in the 40s. All right. And I mean, it's nice. It plays relatively well, but it's in the 40s. So we're going to skip a lot of frames and everything, and it's not going to be the best experience. All right. So let's go ahead and enable AFMF. Yes. Okay, so that's changing the gaming experience. Okay. By changing it, it's making it better. So overriding the profile. Now, the bad part about AFMF and first-person shooters is that it will change when you're moving around a lot, like going like this, it will drop considerably. Now, if you're running around and doing like I'm doing right now, at least, you'll get up higher up there and you'll get in the 80s and everything. And it'll be a little bit better of an experience, but we are playing at 4K on the 7600 XT. It's not a 4K card. So let's go ahead and drop this down. Actually, let me put this back to, let's go ahead and turn all this off. And let's set to global default, actually. Which, as you can tell from Hypr-RX, it does that. And just in case, I'm going to set it over here. Okay, I'm going to drop the game from 4K to 2K. Okay, and things have changed a lot, as you can see on the screen. So one of the reasons why I am recording with my camera, the frame counter, just to make sure what I have is solid. I've recorded already too many times with that messing up. All right, so there we go again. So AFMF is not built into the game, just like we see in this particular game. FSR 3 is not built into the game. So because we're using AFMF, we're using that outside of the game. It's all driver. So that's what makes AFMF so amazing, is that we can get higher frame rates without messing too much with the game, using features the game doesn't support. So that's pretty awesome. So now we can see we're at 2K. We do have Hypr-RX enabled, but we saw how that doesn't really do much in this game. Naturally, we're in the 70s, maybe the 80s. I'm just looking for some action here. And let's go ahead and enable AFMF. All right. Okay, so we're bumping it up from 2560 to 3840 by 2160. Okay, and with that, look at that. We're in the hundreds. Over 100 frames per second. Now the same is going to happen when we get a lot of action. It's going to slow down a little bit. Am I the only one on the map, it feels like? Usually there's a lot more action around here. Oh, okay. It feels like I'm in The Walking Dead right now. So let's just go this way. All right, so again, over 100. I'm trying to get some action here, so one sec. All right, well, that wasn't too much action, but you saw the frame rate, everything, it looks beautiful. And again, just to show you, hopefully it doesn't get me killed, we are playing at 2K with everything set to epic with unlimited frame rate, and she's playing beautiful. So now, and that's with AMFM. So I'm going to go ahead, disable AMFM. Now I'm going to come back to global experience, which is Hypr-RX right now. And I'm going to dump it down to 1080p. Just to give you the full experience. Alright, now at 1080p, with nothing enabled other than global, which enables Hypr-RX. Oh boy. And he had all the best gear. And again, we don't have Hypr-RX or anything along those lines. Actually, I'm sorry, we do have Hypr-RX, but we're not using AFMF. I have a hard time with that acronym. AFMF. Alright. Same thing as before. Not supported in that profile. Now we're baking it in. Look at that. 143 frames per second. So we've done 4K. We've done 2K. And 1080p. Fortunately, and I guess unfortunately, it's an incredibly uneventful server. But that way, you know, I'm able to give you the best experience. Showing you just how everything works. So while it doesn't have the performance of a 7900 or a 7800 or a 4090, at a budget price, the 7600 XT is actually a decent card. You can see it can play anything great. It can play everything at either ultra or high, and what it can't, you can enable FSR 3 frame generation and it plays great. It's getting to the point that you don't need those high-end cards anymore. You can save a few bucks and buy the budget card. What more do you think you can get? Price aside, because I do believe it's going to drop any time now. What do you think about the card? Do you love it? Do you hate it? Do you feel like you should get something more? So with all that, with the performance, with the gaming, with everything we've gone over, let me know down in the comments below, what do you think about the Sapphire Radeon Pulse RX 7600 XT Gaming OC card? Now, if you're liking this card, don't forget to check out this video on how to install the card. And with that said, Iggy with ThisBytesForYou up. See you guys.